Hello everyone. On this trip we went to Batopilas. Batopilas is a Pueblo Magico, which is on the bottom side of the Copper Canyon. And we had to drive quite a ways to get out there, but along the way in the countryside there's lots of different rocks that they show you. So here's some of the rocks that they showed us.
Supposedly this looks like an elephant. The elephant rock. Allegedly. I can kind of see it. Elephant rock.
I don't know. How bored are you?
Yeah.
The drive down to Batopilas is beautiful. You get some great views of the canyon from the opposite side, but I do have to warn you that the road down is pretty steep and it is very twisty. So if you're in the back of the car like Denise was, you might get a little bit of car sickness with all the twists and turns, but it was a beautiful drive the way down, but I also was glad that I was not driving in that.
Here we see a frog on the side of the road. Traveling higher into the mountains here. You can see a lot of interesting rock formations. We are at our first stop, which is the observatory station here on the top of the canyon. As you can see, it's larger than the Grand Canyon here. It's really big. And if you look out, you might even see a few houses inside the cliffs, because that's where the Tarahumadas live. They live inside the rock faces of the cliffs of the Copper Canyon.
Tuvieron que sacrificar todo el ganado porque era muy salvaje. Persona que pasaba, persona que salía dañada por el ganado.
It goes in this area that 50 years ago an American came and retired here at this area, and he brought all of his cows here and he was raising them here on these mountain tops, but then he died and nobody took care of the cows, and the cows went wild, and they went so wild that they ended up having to kill a bunch of the cows because they had gone wild. So I guess cows can live by themselves eventually and go wild. We're going to continue up and then down the road to our next stop. And over there is the road that we're going to go down eventually. It's a long way down.
Again, you can drive yourself to Batopilas if you really wanted to in a rental car, but I would prefer to leave it to the professionals. There's a lot of rocks, and it's just not the rocks and the turns in the road. You just never know what's going to show up in your road when you're going down to Batopilas.
Being stopped by the donkeys, going slow for them. There's the donkeys over there, just going their own way. We're here in the valley here, and those twists and turns, we still need to go down. It's a very interesting curve. You know, all the different things. Maybe if we're lucky we'll see a hawk or something. There's a hawk flying over us as we come down to the valley here. We're finally getting down to the bottom, crossing a bridge here. Getting to this town is a lot of going down and a lot of back up again. The rock fell and it split in half, and it's just waiting for the other half until we cross through. Up there, those buildings are the entrance to an old mine called La Bufa. And right here where we are is a gold mine, and these are the tailings of the gold mine that we're standing on right now. And so they would bring out all the material out to here, and then try to process it into gold. Now, arriving finally down into the town of Batopilas, you can see the walkway down there and a nice bridge that we're about to cross. And there's the sign, because if you don't take a picture in front of the letters, it's like you were never there.
Enfrente está esa casita. Esa era la casa de la moneda.
Okay.
La raya. Y les pagaban porque exactamente
Coming down the tiny corridors here of Batopilas. The reason why they're so small, the streets here, is because they weren't designed, of course, for cars back then. This was a mining town, and it was only designed for horses. The only person that had a car at that time, back in the 1900s, early 1900s, was the owner of the mine, which was Robertshire. And so the way here, the streets here were only designed to be as wide as Mr. Robertshire's car. Place of Manuel Gomez Morin, who was a poet and a local celebrity who knew apparently Albert Einstein. Walking through the center of Batopilas. Very interesting town, very colorful town. All the houses are nicely colored here. We're gonna go order some food, I guess, and then tour around, and then by the time the food's ready, we'll be done touring around the city. It was known for being the second town in Mexico to have electricity, and they did with hydroelectricity. That's what this is about. And then over here we have a monument to Don Manuel Gomez Morin, who was the founder of the PAN party here in Mexico, which is a political group here in Mexico. And there it says, founder of the Partido Acción Nacional. That's the PAN party. In the valley, where we're down really low, it's very tropical. You can see the different things. For example, over there you can see orange trees. Very tropical because it's so hot down here. I had to take off my jacket. Doña Maria, Doña Mica, to order some food for later. She's got so many different business cards here that I had to leave mine. So if you're ever here, you can see, let me know. You still see my business card from California here? We'll see if it's still there. Let me know. After we ordered our food, we walked out of town and took the car again, and we went to an old abandoned mission, and this mission is really interesting. It's on the outskirts of town, and it was by the Jesuits. So the story with this cathedral here is that it's the second cathedral that was built here in Mexico by the Jesuits. What happened, however, is that the Jesuits were expelled from Mexico in the 1700s, and then the Franciscan order came in after the Jesuit order. The Jesuits were more about helping the community grow. The Franciscans were more about just taking the riches from the land. So when King Carlos III of Spain took out the Jesuits and brought in the Franciscans, the natives here did not tell the Franciscans where to go. We are about 8 kilometers from Batopilas, and so the natives here kept this church hidden from the Franciscans, and so it's known now as the Lost Cathedral, because the Franciscans never found it, and it wasn't until the road was built later for the mining operations that it was discovered by Westerners. We were lucky enough that when we got there was this little girl, and our tour guide gave some money to the little girl, and she actually opened up the church for us, so we were able to go inside and check out this abandoned church. The church today is owned and maintained by locals. The Catholic Church doesn't really service this church, although they do maintain the altar, and sometimes they'll invite a church Catholic priest to come up and do sacrament for them. But otherwise, it's just maintained completely by the local villagers here in Batopilas, so it's very interesting. This is the grave of the father who was building the church. He fell while building the last tower. And so that's what this is here. Que ella tiene la tumba más bonita de aquí.
De hecho era la que tenía más raro.
Right here. This is a tunnel that goes down. Don't climb onto the altar, AJ. Be very careful. This is sacred ground. It goes down, and this is how the Indians could escape if the Spanish were coming. Wow.
I wonder what the mural will be about.
After visiting the abandoned church, it was time for us to go back to town and pick up the meals that we had ordered previously.
Town of Batopilas now, and we are having lunch, and I'm gonna have some meat enchiladas. And Denise got chicken, and AJ got cheese.
Good.
Then it doesn't even... Old tractor trailer. Batopilas is known for the suspension bridges, so we're gonna go check one out. I don't know, you'll have to see. Hola, buenas tardes.
The suspension bridges were a little bit rickety, but they did the job and they got us back and forth, and the locals used them a lot, so it was very interesting.
Yes.
We made it across the suspension bridge. Of course, we have to make it back the other way.
I think I'm good. I'm happy to make it across the Not I'm good, but oh look, you'll pick me up.
Fishies.
Oh,
I see fishies,
you see fishes?
and there's a man fishing for them.
Yep, okay. So there are. Here, this used to be in the old mining days. This is where they had the water electric plant, the hydroelectric plant. So that's where the water comes from. You can hear it down there. All the water would come down there and move the big pistons, and that's how they got water down here. In the trees here, you can see the papaya is growing. Just more evidence of how we're in the tropical area. But now we are going to go into the mine. So we're going to go check out that mine. This is the ruins. This is the ruins of the original mine that was here in Batopilas, where they took out 20 pounds of gold by pack mule. And it's kind of dark. So we'll see how that goes. We're here walking down into the mine. It's pretty dark. I'm not gonna get much video out of here because I need to use the flashlight on my phone. But it's just kind of interesting how it goes. On the outskirts of Batopilas again, going over the very short bridge.
We went over the bridge and to the right, and this time we went to go explore the ruins of the old mine operator. His name was Robert Mueller, and so he had a mansion there, but of course when the family abandoned it, it kind of went to ruins, but it was kind of interesting seeing the old rock structures of an abandoned mansion.
Sí. Sí, ya lo veo.
Well, after we visited the mansion ruins, it was time to head back into Creel again, and we saw some wonderful rock formations. Some like this were not even named. And then of course we had to go back the same road with the same murder rock, but luckily it did not fall on us while we crossed it, and we did get back safely. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It was fun to go to Batopilas. I would definitely suggest going there if you can. I would definitely suggest getting a guide because you don't want to drive there. It's a very dangerous road, but it's a very interesting town. So thank you for watching.